So today we are moving on further into Unit 12, which has to deal with some more circle stuff. And today we're going to be looking at something called tangent lines. So in the last lesson, we looked at secant lines, which meant that it was a line going through the circle and touching the other side. And so today we're going to be looking at tangent lines, which means it only touches the circle once on the outside. So let's go ahead and look at that. Okay, so the first thing I want to look at is first we need to look at specifically what I mean by a tangent line. So if I look this line or ray AB and ray AC, if you look, it's actually touching my circle only once at one distinct point. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the definition of a tangent line. So again, a tangent line touches the circle at exactly one point outside the circle, okay? So we're going to take this information, and I have a couple of rules that we're going to use. So the first thing we're going to look at is it says the intersecting tangent segments are equal in length from the same point outside the circle. So if I have two tangent lines, which that's what AC and AB are, and they meet at one point outside of that circle, that means those two segments are congruent. So that means AB right here is going to be congruent to AC. So for instance, if this was 6, this would in return be 6. So again, if I have two tangent lines meeting at one point outside of the circle, that means those 2 points are going to, or those two lines are going to be congruent, okay? All right, so now looking at this one. So now it says the measure of the angle formed by the intersection of two tangent lines. So right now I have two tangent lines and they're intersecting and creating that angle. So if I want to find this angle right now, I'm going to take my two arcs, I'm going to subtract them and take half of them. So if we look from point BC and then from B to D to C, those make two different arcs. So I'm going to take this entire arc, and then I'm going to take this arc on the inside and subtract those and then take half of it, and that's going to end up giving me my line there, or my angle there, okay? So we're going to take this info, we're going to apply it to our examples, and we're going to take off from there, okay? All right, so look at example number 1. It says we need to find the measure of this missing angle right here, okay? So if you look, they've actually given me an angle on the inside, which is a central angle. I know central angles are the same measurement as their arcs. So that means since this central angle is 117, that means this arc here is also 117, okay? But now if you look, this tangent line creates one distinct point, and this tangent line over here makes one distinct point. So from here to here is 117. If I wanted to find the rest of the circle, I would subtract 117 from 360. So 360 minus 117. So if I did 360 minus 117, that's going to end up giving me 243. So that means from this point all the way around to this point is going to be 243. So now I have all the information that I need to find my missing angle, okay? So to find that missing angle, I'm going to take 1/2 of that big arc, which is 243, and I'm going to subtract 117 from that, and then I'm going to take half of it, and that should end up giving me that question mark. So right now, if I do 243 minus 17, that's going to end up giving me 126, and I'm going to take half of that, which is in return going to give me 63 degrees. So ladies and gentlemen, my missing angle there is going to be 63 degrees because I found my big arc and my small arc and subtracted those and took half of it. So that angle right there is going to be 63 degrees. Let's jump over to my next example. So on my next example, it says we need to find the value of the unknown side, okay? Which if you actually look, I actually have two unknown sides, but we're actually talking about this guy right here is what I'm talking about. So I want to find the value of x here, okay? So right now, if you look, these are all tangent lines, meaning I have two lines that are meeting outside of the circle, and those are touching the circle at one point, okay? And I know that if I have two tangent lines meeting at the same point, those are going to be the same value. So if you look, since this is 4.6, this is going to be 4.6. If you look, this point right here goes to here, and this point right here goes to here, so that means these two lines would end up being 13. Well, I know this whole line is 25, so if from here to here is 13, then from here to here is going to be 12. okay? Because 13 and 12 make 25, okay? So now that tells me from here to here is going to be 12. And if I wanted to find the distance from here to here, then I would subtract 21.8 and 12. So 21.8 minus 12 is going to end up giving me 9.8. And now if you look from this point to this point, those are going to be meeting at the same point, two tangent lines meeting at the same point. So that means x would in return be 9.8. So basically I use the two tangent lines that meet outside of the circle or congruent theorem there to work all the way around to find my missing side there, okay? So then obviously also if I wanted to find the perimeter, I would then just add all those up if I wanted to, okay? All right, let's move over to example number 3. All right, on example number 3, it says we need to find the value of the missing angle. So I'm basically working backwards to find this missing angle right here, okay? Well, that's going to be a central angle. So that means I need to necessarily find this arc here to find my central angle. So I'm going to be using that formula that I learned, and I'm basically going to work backwards. Okay, so now let's think. I need to find this guy right here, which is represented as x, right? So let's go ahead and say that x was 100. Then I know from here to here would be 100, and the rest of the circle would be 260 because I basically took that away from 360. So that means all I have to do in order to find the big arc, I have to take 360 degrees and I have to subtract x. Well, now look, I now have two expressions that are representing my two arcs. Now I can just plug those into my formula and find my missing angle I wanted to, okay? So I know to find this angle down here, 55, I have to take 1/2 of the big arc, which is 360 minus x, and I have to subtract my smaller arc here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to end up giving me my angle 55. So now I can solve x here, right? So to get rid of 1/2, I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides. So that's going to give me 110 is equal to 360 minus 2x. All I did was combine the x's. I'm going to subtract 360 on both sides. And when I subtract 360, that's going to end up giving me negative 250 equals negative 2x. And then I'm going to divide by negative 2 on both sides. So x is going to be equal to 125 degrees. So if x equals 125 degrees, remember, this is the arc. The arc and its central angle are the same, so that means my missing angle is 125 degrees, ladies and gentlemen. So literally all I did was took the concept of the formula that I learned up top on your paper, and I used that concept to plug everything in and find my missing angle here, okay? Let's jump over to the last example here. Okay, so now on example number 4, it wants me to find the value of x. So if you look, it looks like from A to D and from A to B, it looks like I have two tangent lines, and they're both meeting at the same point at angle A there, or point A. And so the thing you need to remember that we learned up top is whenever I have this situation happens, both of my lines are going to be congruent to each other. So that means 5x minus 8 and 2x plus 7 are going to be equal. So I'm going to take 5x minus 8 and I'm going to set it equal to 2x plus 7. And then all I have to do is solve, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. So it's going to cancel. It's going to give me 3x minus 8 equals 7. I'm going to add 8 on both sides. And so that's going to end up giving me 3x equals 15. And then I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. So x is going to, in return, end up being 5. And so that would end up making both of my lines equal to each other, ladies and gentlemen, if you need to, okay? So with all this being said, I hope you can take these concepts and you can apply it to your skill check or your practice. If you are having any doubts of the stuff that you're learning here, please call me over and ask for help. Please call for help on that skill check or your practice. I'm here to help you, I'm here to assist you, and I'm here to get you done, okay? So good luck on your skill check.